So the matchup between Scotland and England has just come to a close, and I can tell you right now, there weren't many predicting this result. 31 points to 20 in favour of Scotland. They continue their very impressive recent record up against the English and also end England's 12-match winning streak that they have been on over the last year or so. But there were a lot of eventful moments throughout this game. There was a red card. There were brilliant tries being scored and also an incredible start from Scotland in this game. But in this review, we're going to be looking through at what happened throughout the 80 minutes, what is next for these two sides, and also what this means for the overall Six Nations with this result that has just happened. But starting off, we saw the early yellow card for Henry Arundel. He didn't have his best game out there on the field for England, yet he still managed to score himself a try that was after his yellow card. But during that yellow card period, we saw the try for Hugh Jones early on in the contest. I'll say it right now, I thought he was going to get himself man of the match. He thoroughly deserved it. They ended up giving it to Kyle Steyn, who still had a phenomenal game, but we saw so much of Hugh Jones in the crucial moments of this game. Rory Darge also, I felt, really stepped up. He got himself a couple crucial turnovers for Scotland. And then alongside that, we also saw some brilliant work from Finn Russell in the number 10 jersey. In terms of the second try, though, it was Jamie Ritchie who was able to get it. And just like that, 15 minutes into the game, we saw Scotland leading 17 points to 0. Now, we've got to remember, this is a side that just came off a loss to Italy last week, 18 points to 15. So in only 15 minutes, Scotland already had more points than they scored up against the Italians the week prior. And they didn't really look like slowing down, although that was when we started to see England get themselves back into the game a little bit. Arundel got the try, also the penalty. George Ford managed to tap it over. But England's tactics throughout the early stages of the game, I was slightly confused by. They seemed very keen to keep on kicking that ball, and at times they were winning the aerial battle, but then at others, it just seemed like a waste of possession. They were giving it up, allowing Scotland to have their hands on the ball, and they were making the most of it. Ben White scoring in the 27th minute, and then in the 38th minute of the game, a massive moment, and that was Henry Arundel getting his second yellow card. Now, because he had already received one, it became a 20-minute red, and at that point in time, it maybe seemed like there wasn't going to be enough for England to be able to get back into this matchup. Hugh Jones, he managed to score his second try in the 53rd minute of the game. That was off George Ford going for a drop kick, which I have no idea why they did this. By the way, at that stage, they were down by 12. They had put together some decent phases inside of the 22, putting Scotland under pressure, but then a little lapse of judgment and a decision that ended up costing them dearly was the last try of the match for Scotland, moving them up to 31 points. But it was the perfect example of England just not quite firing out there at Murrayfield. Last try of the game was to Ben Earl. It looked like a forward pass, to be fair, in the build-up of that one, but it did get cleared, and the end score 31 points to 20 between these two sides. So I mentioned a few of the key players for Scotland. I feel like there were many more that we could have talked about from this contest, but tactically for England, it seemed like one of their biggest problems was that 9 and 10 combination. Too keen to get rid of the ball, giving it back to a Scottish side that were more than happy to have a bit of a run. Definitely with this dangerous back three of Jamie Dobie, Kyle Steyn, and also Tom Jordan. But this match, it means that Scotland get 5 points. England receive 0. They still have 5 points overall in the Six Nations standings. The Scottish, they will now move up to a total of 6 points due to receiving that bonus point for their game up against the Italians. But this one was a big confidence booster for the Scottish side in front of the home crowd, getting the job done as they often do up against England in this rivalry. But now their Six Nations campaign is well and truly back on track. If they go on and get themselves a win next week up against Wales, they'll move even higher on the table. Ireland are playing England next week, so one of those two sides is going to get some points. The other will drop off that little bit further. But Scotland now have the potential at the end of the third round to be sitting maybe in either second or third place, somewhere around there, depending on how the other results go for the upcoming fixtures. But nonetheless, do let me know what you thought of this game. It was a very eventful one for a 5:40 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand, but thoroughly enjoyed the game. I'm excited to see what England do next in terms of how they bounce back and they've got a big game up against the Irish, who also bounced back from their loss up against France. So plenty more awesome rugby just around the corner. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you would have given man of the match to in the comments down below, and I will see you all for the next one.